The story of my people began in a parallel reality on an alternate version of Earth. The humans on that Earth were technologically far in advance of the humans in your civilization. However, they became focused on technology and intellect. Over generations, they lost connection to their humanity. They lost the ability to feel. They even lost the ability to reproduce. They engineered love out of their lives. They accomplished great technological and intellectual feats at the expense of their emotions, their physical bodies, and their spiritual qualities, which they considered to be inferior. But in doing so, they slowly destroyed their environment. In a last desperate attempt to perpetuate their species, they moved underground and began to clone themselves, but discovered that their DNA was no longer viable. When the attempt to clone themselves failed, they genetically mutated themselves into the beings you know as the Greys, in an attempt to adapt to their dying planet. However, they realized that the only solution would be to find a viable source of human DNA and introduce it back into their genetic makeup. They used their advanced technology to shift into parallel realities, such as your own, where they knew that humans must still exist. But without emotions, they had no understanding of the fearful impact they would have as they abducted your people and extracted DNA in order to create our hybrid civilizations, which took centuries to complete. We were designed to bring emotionality and spirituality, vitality and balance back into the Grey civilization, to reconnect more fully with creation so their culture would never die out. Although many of your people experienced these encounters with the Greys traumatically at first, we are grateful that you chose to help bring our civilization into being. In our appreciation, we share our knowledge and experience with you, with the vision that your world will choose a more positive outcome than the Greys, for we perceive that you have been traveling down a similar path.
If it's true that the destruction of their parallel Earth gave rise to the beings we call the Greys, can we use that knowledge to change our path? Or will we ultimately choose to suffer the same fate? We must all answer this question for ourselves.
While our civilization was being created, the Greys found a suitable planet in their parallel reality, and with the help of their advanced technology, they transformed it into our homeworld that became Ethesani. We have many forms of animal life. Along with us, plants and animals were brought to our world from many different worlds throughout the galaxy in order to create a balanced system in which we could reside. Some of these forms of life even came from your own world. Our world remains in a natural state. We do not build permanent structures on the surface. Our spaceships are our cities, and from within those ships, we can explore the vast unknown. we invite you to join us on this journey of discovery.
Considering the vast distances between the stars, how would ETs travel from one system to another so quickly? Many scientists still believe there's no way an ET could get to Earth in a short amount of time. Perhaps it's time to bury that outdated concept, just as the following ideas, once considered facts, were ultimately proven to be false. The concept of faster-than-light travel is no longer as far-fetched as it used to be. Scientists like physicist Miguel Alcubierre and NASA engineer Harold Sonny White have developed a model for a Star Trek-like warp drive that would warp the fabric of space and propel a ship to the nearest star in under 2 weeks, rather than the thousands of years it would take with our present rocket technology. A civilization 1,000 or even a few hundred years ahead of ours could already possess such technology.
In one dream, I experienced myself being on the ship that I saw, with Bashar standing there looking at me, and I was able to sort of look around the ship, and it was all kind of this, frosted, crystalline type material. I saw another member of his species sitting at a control console, but I didn't see any controls, and he telepathically explained to me in the dream that their ships are actually artificially intelligent, and in fact, they're actually a representation of their own higher minds, and that the pilot is actually telepathically linked with the ship. They communicate. And so only the pilot can see the controls, which struck me as kind of like really cool and really efficient, because no one else can fly that ship but the pilot that's connected to the ship.
Even though you are unto yourself a beautiful oasis in the sea of stars that is your galaxy, you are not as isolated as you may think. Traveling to your world is not so difficult.
We can travel more slowly if we wish through the manipulation of electromagnetic and gravitic fields. The idea, however, of going from star system to star system happens in a very different way. While you think of an object as existing in a location, to us, location is one of the properties of the object. If you thus then have an object at point A, and you are able to isolate it with an energy bubble, in a sense, unlock it from any particular reality, and thus then impose upon it the vibrational signature frequency of location B, it must stop existing at location A and instantaneously start taking up residence at location B without actually having traveled the intervening distance. You have actually changed its locational variable in its energy signature.